Welcome to Bank on Her. I'm Mackenzie Conklin, and I teach you how to make confidence a strength in and out of your business so you can build self-made wealth and unrealistic success on your terms. I've gone from defeatingly low self-worth to a multiple six-figure entrepreneur by learning how to bank on myself, and I believe you can do it too. Listen to find out how. Hello, welcome back to the fourth day of the Choose Yourself series leading up to my free workshop, Bank on Yourself, that will be on July 11th. And we'll be teaching you there the three elements that are always present when my clients and I far surpass our biggest goals, bigger, better, faster than we've ever imagined. And so we are on the fourth episode of the series. Today's episode is all about one of the concepts that I teach in Unlimited and is a lot of people's favorites. This is a video that people watch a lot. I can't say how many times because some people I think watch it like every week, but they refer to it frequently. And the reason is it's one of the top skills, and my clients know this, that I attribute towards really my fast success the first year in my business. And so if you didn't know, the first year in my business, I had made over $200,000. And it really I attribute so much of it to just this one concept that I'm going to be talking about today. But before we get into that, it has been brought to my attention that a lot of people who, two of the clients that I've signed in this last week have told me, hey, I haven't followed you for a very long time, but I listened to your podcast and now I'm a client. So they don't know as much about Unlimited as a lot of you guys might, or maybe you don't, I don't know. So I want to talk a little bit about it so that you actually understand what the heck I'm talking about when I talk about this video. And so if you are new here, Unlimited is my group program for female founders and honestly just really ambitious women who want to make audacious self-belief a strength and build the skills to create unrealistic success on repeat. And it's just such a fun program. The real focus that we have in there and how I measure success is that your life becomes 25% minimum 25%, by the way. Minimum 25% emotionally and financially richer, meaning you bring in more money, you bring in more income, and your life becomes emotionally richer. And people always ask me, well, how do you measure that? I don't have specific metrics, but people always just tell me my life is like 100% richer. And so that's the main way we measure it. But when I say emotionally richer, really what I mean is that you feel like you have more confidence, you have more joy, you have more fun, you just get more out of life and your life feels richer. The way one of my clients described it, which I really liked, is that you're just going to get a lot more depth of experience and variety and more abundance. And so the way she described it is it's like you have, instead of a chocolate cake, a rich chocolate cake. And more of like the spice of life. She was just describing it as a lot of foods. But I really like that. Think of like a rich chocolate cake. It's just more, I don't know, you just get more from it. You like it more. So that is Unlimited. And now, if you haven't heard yet, Unlimited is now a year-long program. And people have asked me, hey, like, why'd you make a year? I haven't ever heard of a year-long program, or that sounds so amazing. And tell us your thoughts behind it. Well, I just simply always regularly ask myself, what's the best thing for my clients? And the best thing is that they're in this for a year because they end up staying for a year anyway, usually. And so why not just give them a year? And I think we get to go so much further, deeper. And I also thought about the round that started with me in January of this year. And I was just going to cry myself to sleep every night if I didn't have 6 more months with them. So that is really why it's a year now. And so it's now a year-long program. And there are 3 things that every single client, and I truly and seriously mean every single client, says about Unlimited. And now I'm getting nervous that I remember all 3. One of the things they always say is that the community is so unmatched. It is so unmatched. They feel like home. And actually, a lot of people who have been joining recently and snuck their beautiful selves in before the door opened on Tuesday is I've been telling to them, oh, this is going to feel like home for you. Just getting to know them and meeting them and talk to them. I'm like, you're going to fit right in. And Unlimited does feel like home to so many women. And I've never had that experience in my business. So I just feel so honored that so many women who work with me do feel that way. But that's the first thing they always say. The second is really the depth of the coaching you get. We do so much. We do life coaching, we do confidence coaching, we do business coaching, we do honestly relationship coaching. We do a lot of everything in there, and it's just a very holistic, well-rounded program. And the depth of what we talk about, we go deep, we get to the root of things, we really talk about what matters. And the third thing that they say, and this is where I was going with this, is they've never felt so supported. And that's because of how intentional, again, I ask myself the question all the time, what is best for my clients? And usually it means a lot of support. Taking a quick break so that you can hear from my clients. I love what I've created with my clients and what they've been able to do from our coaching, but I don't want you to just take my word for it. Here's what some of my clients have had to say while working together.
The first month of Unlimited has already been such an incredible experience. When I say that I get so excited for days that coaching calls are on, I'm not lying. I wake up like today is a day for an Unlimited coaching call. The energy on those calls, with everybody being so supportive and the coaching that Mackenzie gives you really does make them so special. One thing that I think is so important within especially group coaching calls is being able to have people feel safe and show up in a way where they're just being truly themselves. And I think Mackenzie does the most incredible job of that. You're not just a business owner or just somebody that has like big goals or just someone that needs help with confidence. You get to be your full unfiltered self. There's no just like the Instagram version of you that needs to be there, which I think can happen in a lot of coaching programs. And really being able to be like fully human. You get to show up no matter what's going on in your life. You can get support and coaching with that. And I think that makes Unlimited really special.
In Unlimited, in case you didn't know, there's beyond the year of support, you also get a year access to the curriculum while you're inside. And there's so much in there. I'm going to talk about the curriculum in a second. You have the community. We have 2 coaching calls a week, which I do just to make sure we get every time zone, because I have girls from all across the world, 5 different continents. If you are South America, come talk to me. I don't have you yet. And so we have 2 calls per week to really get time zones, but people love coming to, some people don't come to any and catch the private podcast, which has the replays, which is another thing we have there. Some people come to one, a lot of people come to both, and you can get coached as much as you want. We also have Slack, which is where our community really lives. And you know what I love about our Slack is that it's not just people in there asking me for coaching and just staying in their own threads. People are coaching each other. And I think that's because there is no hierarchy, but also I treat everyone like their voice is just as powerful as mine. And so people coach each other in there. They're talking in there. We have a whole Slack channel just dedicated for them chatting, and they use it. That one is probably the most bumping channel. And so you can get coached by me in there, but also everyone else is there to support you. Okay, I said Slack, calls, curriculum. Oh, the other thing, the Richer Project. There it is. That's the thing that I need to talk about. The Richer Project is this beautiful subsect of Unlimited where we choose a project that would make your life richer. And that really fulfills the emotionally rich part of the promise that we make in Unlimited. And people choose such cool projects, and everyone has very, very different projects. And so just thinking off the top of my head, one client, her project is to say yes to more things because she feels like she was saying a lot of no. Another one, we have a couple moms who they wanted to find their identity outside of just motherhood, and so they're doing that. Another one, she has just the most beautiful Richer Project thread in Slack. She posts experiences and pictures too, which is so special, of the special activities that she does with her kids, and I love that. Another one is doing 30 before 30, so 30 things she wants to achieve before she's 30. Another one has been doing dates with their wife every single week, and she has gone on more dates I think she pretty much hit 58 dates within 4 months. with her wife. So literally a year worth of dates in 4 months. We have ones who are making decisions truly from a place of peace. One of her biggest decisions that she had made was actually to quit her job. Her job she felt wasn't safe for her. She felt it was a little racist. And so she chose peace. And that was from the Richer Project. I thought that was so special. So we have people doing such incredible, beautiful projects like that. And that's how they become emotionally richer, because the other big philosophy we believe is that emotional wealth builds financial wealth. And it's proven time and time again that the more you can build up your emotional wealth, the confidence, the joy, the happiness, the self-trust, all of those things, the more that spills into your money. And that's actually kind of the podcast that I'm talking about today in the video I'll get into. But with the curriculum, we cover a lot of things. So we cover confidence, we cover marketing, we have some basics on sales and just feeling safe through sales. We talk a lot about worthiness with money. And then I think the module that gets the most love by far is the first module, which is called Unrealistic Success Skills. And this is one of the videos in the Unrealistic Success Skills module is the video that I'm talking about today. And so really what this is all the skills that I've noticed that I have cultivated over the past couple years to build my confidence to hit every single goal I set and to really just succeed fast, but also in a very calm way. And just think about that for a sec, how nice that sounds. You succeed very big, very fast, but in a calm way. And so one of the videos in the curriculum, in the Unlimited's curriculum, is called, and it's what we're talking about today, Money Making Bundle of Joy. And there's a lot of beautiful parts in this video, but I'm going to focus on one little aspect of the video that I just think is so special. And again, what I'm about to share with you is honestly, maybe one of the biggest, other than confidence, I would say is probably the biggest thing I attribute towards my really, really fast success my first year in business. And honestly, every time I'm succeeding in business, but I remember it very specifically my first year. And it is this. I am exceptionally skilled at finding joy at all times. That has led, and that's really the emotional wealth I'm talking about. Looking for the joy and finding the joy in even the shittiest of times is what has helped me succeed so much in business. And a lot of the time, even as I'm saying this right now, I'm like, oh, they're going to think I'm just talking about gratitude. And I wouldn't say it's so much of gratitude as it is really cultivating pride and celebrating where you are. And the reason why I'm not saying it's so much gratitude, although that's great, is that a lot of times when we're trying to practice gratitude, I feel like people just make gratitude lists, but they're not actually feeling gratitude. They're not feeling grateful. It's more of just like, I feel like I'm being an ungrateful little bitch, and so I should write down this list of things and feel better about myself. Not that everyone does that. But what I'm really saying, and what I believe, and what everyone in Unlimited really knows this, is that when you can cultivate a lot of pride and you can celebrate yourself, even in the shit times, what that actually does is build self-belief. And so another big thing that we have in Unlimited is just a very, very loving, strong, very strong culture of celebration. And so we have, I mean, I would say in general, the culture of Unlimited is it's very supportive, it's very transparent, it's very intimate, and it's very, very filled with, I would say, courage, celebration. And so anyway, let me get back to what the video, the skill of finding joy. And so it's not so much gratitude as it is pride and cultivating that celebration, because when you have the courage to celebrate yourself, what that does is build your self-belief. And so even in the shittiest of times, I work on finding joy with where I'm at. And what I'm really doing is saying, even though, shit's hitting the fan, I like where I am. I'm proud that I'm here. I like where I am. I wouldn't choose anywhere else. And it's just a good place to be, even when it sucks. And what that does is build up some degree of self-belief that, you know what, I've made it here. I've done it. And here's the perfect example and why it stands out so much in my mind is from the first year. I remember even when I was really struggling at times. So my first year in business, I was still at a corporate job and I was working, it kind of depended on the week, but anywhere from 40 to 60-hour weeks. And I was working East Coast hours while living on the West Coast. And so I was waking up, I can't remember. I think it was like 4:15. The latest it would have been is 4:45 a.m. Either way, really, really unfortunately early. And I was working that. And then I remember I specifically remember one night looking at the clock and it being like 12:30, and I was just on my Mac computer in my notes app, like trying to type up captions and for marketing and just being like, I am tired and there are no real sentences coming out of my brain. So I was just working a lot, and I had just moved to San Francisco, and I was living in an apartment with strangers I found off the internet. And they were fine. They were fine. We weren't friends, and I felt a little out of place. So I hid in my room a lot. And I remember my room was pretty cramped. And so my dresser, I always like to say, my dresser touched my desk, and my desk chair there wasn't even space to back it out. So I had to like shimmy into my desk, and my desk chair touched my nightstand, which touched my bed. Like everything was just very cramped. And I was very blessed, right? Like, and that's the thing, is I had the attitude of, I'm so blessed. I can't believe I live in California. And even when I was working 60-hour weeks and then on top of it trying to run a business and get my business off the ground incredibly quickly, because I had set the goal of, I want to make at least $150,000 my first year in business. And I'm reliving it in my head right now as I'm talking to you guys. And I remember the struggles and the times where I was tired and there were times I wasn't signing as much clients, or just times where I felt, if you don't know, I have diagnosed depression and anxiety. And so just times when I was more struggling, I felt very unsafe. Here it is. Here's what actually was. Here, I'm describing my room that I didn't mind so much. I liked it a lot, but I just didn't like the apartment so much. Anyway, I felt really unsafe at work. I had a lot of corporate trauma and things that happened behind the scenes where if my coworkers ever hear this episode, they probably never would have known what was actually going on. But I had a lot of corporate trauma going on. It was a very unsafe environment for me. I didn't feel good. And so I was pretty much putting myself in a dysregulated state 60 hours a week. And so then trying to do a business on top of that. Anyway, just setting the stage for you that even at the hardest of times, what I was living in so often, I can't even tell you how often I was living this. It just felt like magical every single day was, I'm an entrepreneur. I can't believe I'm an entrepreneur. Oh my God, I'm an entrepreneur. And I just lived in the magic of that identity so, so strongly that I was just so excited and proud to be doing what I was doing. And I remember like my first sale, the first time I got a payment, anything like that, I was like, oh my God, I'm an entrepreneur. And I lived so much in that it didn't matter what struggles or setbacks I was having. I was just so in the magic and the miracle of that moment. And that fueled me so much. I was finding so much joy in that. So that 12:30 night, here's the context too, that 12:30 night writing captions, which truly was just nonsense that felt like coming out of my brain because I was so tired, and then having to wake up in less than 4 hours, it was just like, I'm an entrepreneur. I can't believe I get to write a caption. Just little things like that gave me so much happiness. And because I was constantly celebrating and filling myself with that pride and that joy, it was a lot of thoughts of like, I'm doing it. I love this. I'm doing it. And what that created was newfound level. I was constantly raising my self-belief. I was constantly telling myself the story of I'm doing it. I was constantly living in this new identity of I'm an entrepreneur, which is something I wanted to be since I was a little girl. And so what I was doing is every time I was living in that and finding joy in that, even in the really hard times, even in the times I felt unsafe at work, even in the times that, I thought about leaving my job way before I had planned, by the way, all of those things, I was raising my self-belief, and it made it so much easier for me to succeed because I had raised my self-belief. A story I often tell is that I had a $50,000 month within my first 6 months in business. And I don't know how I did that. I look back at my marketing from that time and I was like, this is so cringy. It is shit. Not being like mean to myself, just like now at the levels I'm at, I'm like, oh my God, this marketing is not something I would approve today. And I did it not because you need to know all the marketing things or you even need to know how to have a $50,000 month. I was just so in my self-belief. I was so good at finding joy where I was. And a flip side to this conversation that I think is really important too, and I'm gonna give you exact coaching that I've given some of my clients, is that I have to do it in the times that I'm really struggling too. I have to do it in the times where I am just incredibly depressed. I am incredibly anxious. There was a stint of time last year where I was having panic attacks 1 to 2 times a day. It was really when I was in New York, let me say this. New York has a lot of trauma for me. And so when I first started coming back, because my boyfriend moved here and we started long distance, bless his heart, he had to deal with so much so soon in our relationship. But I was having panic attacks all the time and I still was having to find joy where I was. Something that I remember doing during the time where I was really struggling and having the panic attacks was I was so proud of myself that I kept coming back and trying. I kept coming back to New York. If you guys followed me last year, and if you're new here, I happily come to New York all of the time now. I'm probably going to move here this year again. But when I used to live here. And so when I was coming here sometime last year, I just kept telling myself that I was really proud for trying again. I just kept coming back, partially because I had to because I have a boyfriend here. But I was just finding joy in that. And so it's just as it's easy to find joy in the good moments, but it's hard to get it and find joy and love where you are in the shit moments. But that's when it's most important. And I think that's what really builds your confidence even more because, again, I just explained to you how it builds self-belief. So you're building belief in the lows, which is what 9 out of 10 people will never do. And to get the confidence you really want, that's what you're going to have to do. And so I think it's a huge reason why I'm so successful and my clients learn to be so successful because they're using self-belief. You can use any strategy in the world, it doesn't matter, but self-belief is what actually makes it powerful. It can also be, here's another phrase that I've told my clients, if it feels really hard to love where you are right now, what's just the same phrase said differently is how can you make peace with where you are right now? Another example I'll give is there was a stint of time where I was comparing myself to myself in corporate, but I wasn't comparing the whole picture. I was just comparing my old salary that I used to have to literally my salary as a fresh second year entrepreneur, which is like laughable that I was doing that because so many entrepreneurs don't get to pay themselves for a long time. And I had a pretty decent salary a year or two. And I remember finally hitting a point where I looked at the number I was paying myself and I was like, I'm going to love this. And I went back to what I did as a first-year entrepreneur, which is like, I'm just so happy to be an entrepreneur. I went back to, oh my God, I'm an entrepreneur and I pay myself this much already. I love that I pay myself this much. Instead of saying it's not enough, I went to, it's more than enough to pay my rent. It's more than enough to buy food. It's more than enough to pay for health insurance. It's more than enough to go to new restaurants. It's more than enough to eat. Like I was just listing off all the things that it was more than enough for. And I loved it because I was telling myself I'd rather receive this amount, this lesser amount from the brilliance of my brain than get paid in a paycheck from a corporate company. And I found the joy in that again. And the minute I did that, my income shot right up because I wasn't carrying around the shame anymore. And so if you feel like you're really struggling to get further and you're starting to get frustrated with where you are, I think that's a really good like gateway entry emotion for this. If you're starting to feel frustrated, you're not further, this will really change things for you. You need to love where you are. You need to find the joy, find the pride, find the celebration in where you are. And so I just want to read off what a client said because it was a more extreme example, but I think it's helpful too. She said, Quote, I am so tired of the struggle. I don't see how I could love it. I don't believe it's easier for anyone else, but how do you learn to love depression despite it being so hard? Also, when it comes to loving yourself, your life, your income, where you are, I feel so discouraged about it. I'm tired of wanting to change my life when I'm not changing it. Help. So that's what my client had said. And here's the way I described it to her. And I think this is a really good reason or really good rationale to show you why it's so important that you actually really like where you are. And it's because when you are frustrated or down or ashamed or whatever it is on your life, on your relationship, on your business, on your income, whatever it is, you're going to be too bogged down and tired and ashamed to change it. That's what's happening. That's why and that's why I told her, that's why you're tired of wanting to change it without changing it, because the shame, the frustration, the disbelief, whatever it is for you, it's like 300 extra pounds that you have to carry along while trying to change your life. It's too heavy. And I told her, I really want you to sit with this, because what I'm saying here is why it's so important to stop fighting yourself and being frustrated with where you are and shaming yourself for not being further, and learn to just to make more peace with it or love it. And again, use peace instead of love if that's easier, because when you can put down the 300 pounds of shame, of frustration, all of that, it becomes so much easier for you to change your life. It's less of wanting and wishing and hoping, but not having the energy to change it. And instead, you gain back that energy from not carrying around the 300 pounds. And that energy that you gain back and reclaim can go towards making change in your life. And so if you're frustrated, that is the analogy that I want to give you. At least put the 300 pounds down and then try and find joy with where you are. And this is a very cliche phrase, but I think it also paints it of where you are now is very, very likely a place that you once dreamed of being, especially if you are an entrepreneur. And so I think it's so important that you just find joy with where you are, because what I'm not saying is if you find joy, you're going to stay there. That's the other fear people have is, if I find joy where I am, then how will I change? And it's because when you are happier, it'll just be so much easier to change it. And like an example I've written down in my journal, and it's popping up in my head right now, is I wish I had this journal with me, and I don't. I'm in New York right now. I remember writing down, I love these setbacks and struggles because I know I'm going to go so far in life. And this particular set of setbacks and struggles in my life and in my business is only going to happen right now. I'm going to look back one day and miss this, or have more complex problems, or I don't think I wrote that, but I'm going to look back one day and miss this time because it came and went so fast. I do remember writing that. It came and went so fast because I'm growing so fast, because things are happening so fast. So I'm going to love the hell out of this season that I have now. I'm going to love the hell out of this season that I have now. And even as I say that right now, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like if you have a kid and then they're in their terrible twos or whatever. My sister has kids and I'm always around them. My one niece is she's just like me. She is a contrarian. She is stubborn. She doesn't listen for shit. And she's a tough cookie. And it's hard to deal with that age when you're 2 to 4. But I know my sister will look back one day and be like, God, I missed that age, right? It's the same thing. And so when you can love where you are at now and find joy in it, again, finding joy doesn't mean you'll get stuck there. It means that you'll build a lot of pride and celebration with where you are. And when you celebrate, you're going to build the courage, and that's going to build your self-belief. And your self-belief is the most important thing that will get you further. So again, the video in Unlimited is called Money Making Bundle of Joy. Finding joy is just one little aspect of it, but I really wanted to expand on it for you because, again, it's the thing that has changed my life the most in terms of my business. And so I'm excited to get to share it with you. If you liked this, if you've liked the series, if you've really gotten a lot out of this podcast, I encourage you to come to the free workshop. I've never done a free workshop in my entire business. The free workshop called Bank on Yourself that I'm going to be hosting next Tuesday, so July 11th at 3 p.m. EST, and come live if you can. It'll really, really change your life. We're going to be sharing 3 of the most powerful concepts that will help you hit any life or business goal with confidence. And again, this whole series, the Choose Yourself series on the podcast, is just little concepts leading up to the big ones that I'm teaching in the free workshop. And again, if you're new here, if you've only been listening to the podcast, thank you. I love you. I want to talk to you. Come message me. But the things that my clients have been able to do using the concepts I'm teaching in this workshop are things like surpass $1 million in sales in just a matter of months. They have moved to Europe. They've moved to Thailand. They've moved to the UK. They've moved all across the world just because they felt they finally had the self-belief to take the risks, to take the jumps. They have tripled their sales, quadrupled their sales. They've become the breadwinners. They've been able to fund things in their life they never thought possible, from little hobbies all the way to paying off their debt, to really big life events, to buying houses, apartments, things like that. Any goal that you have, I almost guarantee someone in Unlimited has done using what I'm teaching in the workshop. And so if you have a crazy out there, no way it happens, audacious goal, I want you to come to the workshop and I want you to think about that goal as I'm going through the workshop. And we're going to see, and I'm going to coach live to see how we can get you that goal this year. And so if you haven't already, register. If you go to the show notes, there's a link and it will have register for the free workshop. You can click that and register. We'll also be sending out a replay, but those who come live will be entered to win a week of one-to-one Voxer coaching with me. And we're going to have multiple winners, so it's definitely worth coming live. And whoever wins that week of coaching, we're going to work on how to get you that goal this year. And then after, if you haven't heard, the doors to Unlimited are opening. We already have multiple people inside. Every single launch, there are a couple people who just don't want to risk it and end up joining Unlimited before the doors ever even open. And so if you know you want to be in this room, I highly recommend joining this round. We are capping the number of people this round. And on top of that, this is going to be the last launch that the price is $4,500. The next time I launch next year, it will be going up to, I believe, $6,000. And so it'll end up being $500 a month because we are going to the 12 months. But this is the last round where you can get in for $4,500. So if you've been eyeing Unlimited, if you've sat on the sidelines for a couple of rounds and you know you want to be in this room, you want to be one of the success cases, come talk to me. Come see if this room is for you. I cannot wait to see you at the workshop. I hope to see you there. And I hope you get to join Unlimited afterwards. So thank you for listening. And I'll see you on Tuesday for the free workshop. Join me live for my free workshop, Bank on Yourself, How to Hit Any Life or Business Goal Using Confidence. We'll be showing you how to stop faking confidence, wishing you were further in business, playing small, and finally help you become the person who can hit any life or business goal using audacious self-belief. After the workshop, the doors to Unlimited will be opening. This is my signature program for female founders ready to build audacious self-belief and the skills to do 100K on repeat through confident marketing. The program now includes 12 months of coaching, curriculum, and community, and the doors open on July 11th through the 25th. Those who register for the webinar and join Unlimited before July 14th or within 48 hours of the workshop will receive a bonus intensive with me, and you can use the show notes to register for the workshop. I'll see you there.